Mangas can go a little too far with their graphic and more, provocative scenes, and they sometimes need to get censored to be presentable in the anime. However, censorship is not always understandable as some crucial scenes in the manga, like the damage in fights, require the presence of damage and battle scars to show their impact on our favorite characters. I mean, Luffy won't get stronger until he's beaten senseless. It's a basic rule of shonen animes. Here, we'll be looking at the top 10 times One Piece moments were censored in the anime. Number 10. Sanji's bloody chivalry gets censored. We'll start with the most gentlemanly character in the series, although a better describing word would be simp. Sanji is known to be the single most love-struck and stupid-in-love man in the manga, and he has countless of these chivalrous moments throughout the series. One of his best moments was shown in the manga when he was attempting to save Nami from the leader of the zombie soldiers and zombie generals of Thriller Bark. I know for a fact that Sanji got very jealous when Absalom tried to force Nami to marry him. In the manga, Sanji was shown protecting Nami while she was in her wedding dress. Poor Sanji wasn't about to let the dress be dirtied under any circumstances, even after he got impaled by a sword from the back that poked out the front of his body. The manga panel showed his valor flawlessly, but sadly it got censored in the anime and the sword was only shown to stab Sanji and not impale him fully. You gotta give it to the man, though, because he just set the bar way too high. Number 9. The scar on Luffy's eye was from himself. Next, we have Luffy's initiation into the pirate world. Our young, rubbery idiot is known to have had guts of steel from a very young age, and he had begun showing his worth way before his formation of the Straw Hat Pirates. Over the countless hours of the anime that have been released, we've seen Luffy multiple times and seen the little scar that he has under his eye. This scar was not from a battle, but Luffy inflicted that wound on himself. During his encounter with Shanks' crew, he wanted to show his mettle and prove his strength, so in the manga, it was shown how he grabbed a nearby knife and gave himself the wound. Well, this got hit with the censor stamp and was never shown in the anime. I mean, the idea of a little kid using a knife on himself was a little too much in the eyes of the animators, but this would have been a great scene that would have complemented Luffy's character development. Number 8. Vivi isn't allowed her original, alluring dress. Speaking of character development, did you know the original design of Vivi's dress was a lot more, hypnotizing? Yep. In the manga, her dress had a completely different design that emphasized her curves way too much. Not that I'm complaining, but anyways. The Princess of Arabasta Kingdom is shown in the anime to be wearing a top with a slanted design. However, in the manga, her original design had a concentric circles on it. This was when she was posing as an undercover bounty hunter going by the name Miss Wednesday. Very cliche, but anyway. The animators thought that the design would raise a lot of eyebrows if it was animated, so they brought in the striped top as a placeholder. Honestly, with how Vivi's personality was, the original top suited her better since it would have complemented her female persuasion skills quite a lot. Number 7. Bartolomeu. The simp defends Luffy's name gruesomely. Sanji wasn't the only simp in the series because we had another one, but this time, it was an admirer of our knucklehead protagonist. Bartolomeu was one of Luffy's biggest fans, and boy, he didn't take any shit from anyone where his idol was concerned. In the anime, a man started bad-mouthing Luffy and Bartolomeu happened to be close by. His crying and admiration face quickly turned into one of full rage, and he throws the man against a wall and threatens to cut his tongue off. Now, he spared the guy in the anime, but surprise, surprise, he actually goes through with it in the manga. That man was serious about his fangirling for his idol, and he might make a really frightening yandere if he isn't one already. Number 6. Zeph lost his leg saving Sanji. Nope. Remember when Zeph had to save a drowning Sanji after he said his dream was to see the All Blue, and how he lost his leg in the process? That isn't actually what happened, and the canon event in the manga series gets a little, intense. The backstory of young Sanji at that time showed his crew getting attacked by Zeph, but both ships got caught in a huge storm that sunk both ships. As Sanji was drowning, Zeph grabbed him and they both washed ashore on a rocky outcrop, high above the sea. There was no instance of him losing his leg. However, there was very little food on the small outcrop, and with the two of them, there just wasn't enough food to last them both a long time. Now here's the banger. Zeph lets Sanji take all the food, and to survive starvation himself, he breaks off and eats his own leg. This obviously was not shown in the anime, but remember kids, cannibalism is frowned upon in most societies. Number 5. Sanji gets surrounded by comically large kitchen utensils. Now these censors are a little understandable because of their nature. However, there are those moments in the anime that you'd watch and be like, what in the actual heck is that? The animators of One Piece must have gotten way too paranoid about things because who replaces weapons with kitchen utensils that are larger than the person holding them? Remember when Sanji agrees to cook for Fleet Admiral Don Krieg and his men? His chefs and soldiers had surrounded him with comically large forks, knives, and even spoons. I mean, I get the forks and knives, but what good is a spoon going to do? In the manga, it was way more believable since the men had surrounded him with actual guns instead. Unnecessary censorship at its finest, ladies and gentlemen. Number 4. Buggy the Clown spares his crewmate's life. Coming back to more gruesome scenes, this time we'll be looking at Buggy the Clown. This character was already very easy to rile up since he'd been bullied and poked fun at from a young age because of his honkable nose. No offense intended, Buggy. However, once he got his powers, he wasn't going to take that from anyone, and when someone did, he'd make an example of them in a brutal way. Once, he thought one of his crew members was talking about his nose and used his powers to choke him while dangling in the air in front of his crew. Buggy ends up releasing and sparing the poor dude, but in the manga, he literally got the side character treatment. Buggy, in fact, did not let him go and used his powers to hold him in front of a cannon, which he then ordered to be fired, blowing the sweet Jesus out of the guy, completely obliterating him. Talk about taking your insecurities too seriously. Sheesh. Number 3. Roshio gets a relative chip on the shoulder. If you think the last guy had it the worst, wait till you hear about how Roshio was offed in the manga. Roshio was a pirate captain who had a bounty of 42 million, and at the start of the Haya arc, he was shown to be playing cards against Bellamy the hyena. It was a betting game which Roshio ended up winning, and Bellamy, being the sore loser in the game, accused Roshio of cheating. Typical gamer behavior. He then proceeded to grab Roshio's hand before he can take the winning money, and then the silhouette shows him getting shot multiple times, then pushed out the window. The manga wasn't that easy on the poor guy. First, his hand was stabbed, not grabbed. Then he was only shot once in the leg. Whew, only once should be fine, right? Psych! Bellamy then breaks an alcohol bottle on him and lights him on fire, which causes him to get pushed back into the window and fall from it. Now that was a real no-holds-barred death in the series. Number 2. Whitebeard only loses his mustache to a Kainu. Even the strongest man on Earth wasn't spared from the censorship that undermined his character development. Each time that Whitebeard was in a fight in the manga, we saw many instances of him being severely injured, and that was most prominently seen in his fight with the Kainu. Now, the Marineford War was one of the most action-packed and brutal fights in One Piece, and during that fight, Whitebeard was facing off against a Kainu who had already inflicted a lot of damage on his body. In another swift attack, he managed to obliterate one side of Whitebeard's mustache. This is where the censorship happened. In the manga, Whitebeard actually lost a part of his face, including half of the mustache. The fact that the man was still going strong in the fight afterward is proof that he indeed was worthy of his title. Number 1. 4Kids Entertainment takes censorship way too far. No one takes the top spot in censorship from 4Kids Entertainment, and although they didn't directly censor stuff from the manga, they still censored the living hell out of the anime. Since 4Kids was a Western animation studio made for kids, it was understandable that the damage in the anime was to be toned down. However, they took it way too far and censored the battle wounds to make it seem like our favorite characters took no beating at all. I mean, Luffy's fighting with the main antagonist leads him to being battered and bruised, and that damage emphasizes his growth. Removing that is plain injustice. Also, every trace of alcohol was removed. Smoker and Sanji cigarettes were removed, and every weapon was changed into stupid placeholders like water guns and shovels. Now, which of these censored moments did you hate the most? Let us know in the comments section below. Leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more anime content. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.